I'm not sure what to name this one. I don't want to call it Elden Ring, a stupid dumpster fire and it sucks troll ass. I love this game. I really do. I think this is, without exaggeration, the best FromSoft game made yet. But it has some really serious flaws. And I think a lot of fans just don't want to talk about them. And the only people who do want to be negative about the game in an unnecessarily shitty way. So I want to talk about what went wrong with Elden Ring. Or at least what didn't work well when all the pieces fell in place. Just know that this is coming from a place of affection, from a place of good faith. So, to begin. 1. Numerical reward versus mechanical reward. When Elden Ring gives you a reward, it falls into one of these two camps. Rewards will either serve as raw boosts to your number lists and make your big numbers go up, or it will give you a new toy that changes how you play on a mechanical level. Let's look at the very beginning of the game, the Gatefront Ruins. What does clearing out Gatefront Ruins reward you with? Well, two things. The first is the pretty sizable amount of runes you'll get from killing so many enemies, a numerical reward. The second is the Flail, the Lord's Horn Greatsword, and potentially the Knight's Partisan. 3 different new weapon types with new movesets to play with. Numerical reward and mechanical reward. Numerical rewards don't exclusively come in the form of runes. Graven Skull, Shard of Alexander, every weapon talisman, a bunch of accessories only serve to take a number and juice that bitch up like a French marathon cyclist. At the same time, the 4 heirlooms, the arsenal charms, the winged sword insignias, the exaltations, another bunch of accessories either enable new playstyles by letting you meet the stat requirements to engage with them, or reward the player with buffs for engaging in a specific playstyle. The thing at play here is that the game's numerical rewards are shit-dicked sideways compared to its mechanical rewards. Getting a new weapon moveset to play with, or getting something like the winged sword insignia, which rewards you for proper spacing and timing to make hitting multiple times wildly more satisfying, that's a dopamine SummerSlam straight to the cerebral cortex. But there's a reason Flock Talisman doesn't specifically mention how much of a boost it gives. Because if it read 4%, you'd throw it in the trash where it belongs and never look back. Plus, this may be a little too subjective, but I feel like the rune rewards for certain bosses and enemies are absurdly small. Killing the Ferrum Azula Crucible Knight only gives you 7,000 runes. By the time you hit Ferrum Azula, 7,000 won't buy you a fucking Snickers, let alone anything of value. The Consecrated Snowfield Rune Bearer that has more health than goddamn Malekith only drops 9,000 runes. My brother America's sweet tits, are you serious? It is just really off-putting how the game allocates its numbers. For some ungodly reason, Miyazaki is terrified of giving you buffs bigger than the teens or paying you a living wage for killing common fauna. It's weird. It's weird and I don't like it. Number 2. Where the fuck is everyone? Godric is Lord over Limgrave. He rules it. He holds the political position of Lord. Morgott is the Omen King. He holds all the power of Regent over Leyndell. Jaren is Castellan over Redmane Castle. He organizes and deploys the troops that fly the Redmane banner. But what the fuck does all of that mean? No, actually, practically, what? Morgott is king. He drafts legislation. He holds court. Godric is collecting taxes. And from who? Who the fuck are they lord over? What populace is maintaining the mandate of governance through compliance? Who the fuck is paying Godric taxes? No, this might sound silly, but for real. Who are the people of the lands between? When we acquire the Rune of Death, we see a bunch of Gostock-looking fucks freaking out alongside some soldiers, but that's it. There's no citizenry. There's no people. Nothing here makes any fucking sense. Because there's no people to do any of it for. Are we assuming that all the homes in Leyndell are full of people that locked up because we came to town? How the fuck are they going about their lives? Does their daily commute involve running past the Erdtree Avatar? Dark Souls took place in a dead world. Across all 3 games, Lordran, Drangleic, and Lothric were all worlds where everyone was fucking dead or dying. Correct me if I'm wrong, but The lands between feel like a world still clinging to life. Langdale still has a king and a standing army. Limgrave is mostly untouched by outside forces. Raya Lucaria is still collecting tuition. Where are these people? In previous games, it felt fitting to be all alone, but here it just makes the world feel a little more empty than it should. Like, take the Omen, for example. They're kids that were born with a crucible curse, and now they have horns. The ones on the surface have had their horns chopped off. The ones down the sewers were the kids of royals who didn't get their horns cut, but were locked up in the sewers. Standard lore that the vast majority of people are familiar with. But what royal families? Where? Who? Langdale citizens? Then where the fuck are they? But hey, we're tarnished, right? That means there's other tarnished around, right? Like we're all on this quest to become Elden Lord. All of us, a collective, together. Well, no, not really. There are 28 tarnished NPCs in the game. 28. Where the fuck are they? You can find some of them. Rogier and Dialos wander around and do their own thing. Some are merchants or other support types like Patches and Roderica. But like, let's take Targoth. Where the fuck is he? What's he doing? He shows up for the Radon Festival. He shows up to help you with the worm in the cliffside of Altus. He helps you with the Draconic Tree Sentinel. When he's not there to help you specifically, what's he doing? Where is he? Seriously, he might as well be a Spirit Ash. And what sucks is this is something the game actively averts at times. Lionel is Fia's adopted father. He shows up to the Radon Festival, assumingly on her behalf, to spy on things and assist you on your journey so that you can accomplish her goals. This is even hinted at prior to fighting him as one of her guardians or getting his armor because he casts death sorceries during the fight with Radon. So when he's not helping you, he's working towards her ends. Dialos is going on his journey, joining the Red Manor and murdering for them before moving on to Jarburg. Yura is hunting Bloody Fingers, and Eleanor is assumedly either safeguarding Mohg's biggest weakness or hoarding it so that she can challenge him herself. But like, what the fuck is Vagram doing outside the one time you fight him? He's packing the goddamn penultimate Godslayer weapon. Like, why couldn't he be a summon for the Kayla Tower or in the Windmill Village? Something to hint a further connection to the Godskins. Like, in helping you kill these bosses, that opened the path for him to get the Godslayer Greatsword, or something along those lines. What the fuck is Albrecht doing? Outside being a tutorial on how powerful Bleed and Frost are. His set implies a connection to the Thorn sorceries, but he doesn't use their spells. Did he get his power from the Red Star? The Formless Mother? Given that he uses Frost spells, is he connected to Rani or her teacher? Or the Zamor guys? I just really, really love how some tarnished like Lionel and Dialos feel like they're up to their own shit elsewhere in the lands between. And it sucks that others feel like they just manifest out of nowhere to be a gameplay encounter. Number 3. Godric and Melina are weird. Okay, so Marika and Godfrey had Godwyn, Mohg, and Morgott. Then Radagon and Rennala had Rykard, Radon, and Rani. Then Marika and Radagon fucked themselves to make Melina and Mikola. And Godric is a descendant of Godwyn. What does that mean? No, actually, what the fuck does that mean? Does that mean Godwyn fucked? Who did he fuck? Did any of the other demigods fuck? Why is Godric the only descendant of this supposed lineage still kicking around? I know this might be nitpicky as shit, but like, this is weird, right? Why isn't Godric just another demigod kid of Marika? Just wedge him in between Godwyn and the Omen twins and literally nothing changes. You just clean up all these weird questions raised by him being Godwyn's descendant. Whatever the hell that means. Oh wait, no, I lied. You'd have to nix the single most complained about dupe boss in the game. Oh no, such a fucking loss. Is that why? Was that written to justify Godfroy existing? So we can reuse Godric? That's silly. I hate it. And I'm pairing my complaints about him with my complaints about Melina because fucking bite me. This is already a lot of work, okay? Out of all the level up waifus, Melina is easily the weakest character in FromSoft history. This bitch has no character. at all. Who is she? What does she want? Why is she so cool with being burned alive? No idea. And no, it's not, oh, mysterious. The bitch is just flat. All she does is tell you cryptic shit America said 1,000 years ago. She helps you with Morgott, even having a unique spell she casts on death to heal you. And that's super cool, but that's it. And to make matters worse, there's a whole side quest around her that does nothing for her. If you take the Frenzy Flame ending, she bounces and threatens your life. But there's a super secret thing you can do, which is take the flame to save her from being burned alive, then undo it in Fair Missoula. To do this, you have to complete the longest, most convoluted questline in the game, and defeat the two most powerful optional bosses in the whole game. And what do you get? Fucking nothing. You go through all of this to avert Melina killing herself, and you get no acknowledgement for this whatsoever. Who dropped the ball this hard? Who decided that Melina, who should have the most focus out of any NPC in the game, would get none of it? Whose bright idea was it to give her the most sour nothing of a resolution to the most convoluted quest in the game? Because whoever it was needs to be subjected to 100 hours in a dungeon with the Big Bang Theory laugh track on repeat like it's fucking Guantanamo Bay. Number 4. Status and lost potential. The status afflictions of this game make me want to dropkick one of these fucking penguins off this cliff. Frost is perfectly fine as it is. Good job, FromSoft. The availability of spells, ashes, and weapons that deal frost is A+. What the fuck happened with Bleed, though? I mean, seriously, this shit is a nightmare. It's absurdly powerful, and there's so many ways to inflict it. You'll be getting tetanus reaching to the bottom of your bag, scrounging around for something that doesn't inflict it when you hit Radigan and the game tells you to put that pussy shit away. And this is in stark contrast to Poison and Rot. Poison does dick all damage, even with deadly poison. And what does Rot get? 3 spells. A dagger, a rapier, and consumables no one wants to fucking farm. Hope you like looking at this dragon's dumpy ass head, because that's the only practical way to use Rot. And while I'm at it, the fuck happened with the Servants of Rot spells? Poison Mist, Pest Threads, and Big Herpes Bomb. That's it? That's all you could think of? There's 20 different flavors of shoot a blue rock at a bitch, but the DOT enjoyers couldn't get anything. Like not even a Rot version of Poison Moth Flight. And lastly, the abused red-haired stepchildren of the game, Sleep and Frenzy. Sleep I actually give points to for being as accessible as it is. Right from the start of the game, you have access to St. Trina's sword and the recipe for the sleep pots, meaning you can take advantage of it right out of the gate. And in the player's hands, it's quite effective. But what about enemies that inflict it on the player? This crab. This crab is the only enemy in the base game that can inflict sleep on the player. Outstanding. Bravo. Well done, team. I don't know whose bright idea it was to make a whole status effect the player doesn't have to worry about. It's not because sleep is OP or anything, since literal death is getting spewed by everyone and their grandma in some areas. Speaking of which, lastly, I'm lumping Deathblight and Frenzy together because they're suffering from similar issues. We're going to make a whole 2 status effects that only affect tarnished player characters. And then we're going to add so few NPC enemies that fall under that umbrella, you can count them alongside the number of times your dad has told you he's proud. Fucking brilliant. At least Frenzy can still do outstanding fire damage with the likes of the Frenzy incantations and Vike's War Spear, but goddamn is it a shame the status itself is left out in the dust alongside death. Like, clearly Frenzy affects non-tarnished. Fucking Stuart Little over here is coming at me blitzed out of his mind. But no, a whole status that only affects a high school marching band's worth of NPCs. Sure, why not? They can hang out with Cardi B over here. Overall, it really feels like the status effects are just super stilted in how their usefulness to the player and threat to the player have been distributed. God, do I love Elden Ring. I really do. And none of these issues are particularly lethal to my enjoyment of the game. And I'm not a game dev. Maybe this shit is harder than I give it credit for. But when we've got everything from Crucible Knights paying me with a Wendy's coupon to beat them, to there being single status enemies, I don't know. I feel like some of these issues just should have been seen coming with ease, and that makes them sting all the more.